Hi, I'm Jackie Dzelski, and welcome to our latest installment of It's Your Business. I work at the Manatee Chamber of Commerce, and today I have as a guest with me John Horne, who is the current chairman of the board for the Manatee Chamber. We thought we'd take this time here at the end of the year to recap what has been a phenomenal year for the Manatee Chamber under John's leadership. So we're hoping to spend the next half hour with you, our METV viewers, talking a little bit about some of the accomplishments of the Manatee Chamber this year, maybe look ahead to some of the things that are coming up in 2013, and to talk a little bit more about an organization that some people don't realize is engaged in as many things as we are. So John, welcome to It's Your Business on Manatee Educational Television.
Thanks, Jackie. I'm glad to be here.
You're welcome. So you are currently our chairman of the board, but in your real paid life, you are the owner of the Anna Maria Oyster Bar family of restaurants. So why don't you give us and our viewers a little bit of a taste of what you have going at the Anna Maria Oyster Bar?
Great. We've been in business for 15 years at the Oyster Bar. We have 3 locations in town. We have a great crew, and we just have a blast serving food to as many people as we can. We've been very involved in the community, and the community's been very involved with us. So it's a great business. We have fun.
Now, I don't think I see a single charity benefit event that doesn't have the Anna Maria Oyster Bar attached to it in some way. You and your management team, you and Amanda, are so generous in our community. Why is it that you guys choose to get involved outside the 4 walls of the restaurant? Because something tells me if you let it, the restaurant business could take up every minute of your time.
It can be time consuming, but as I said, we've got a great crew, so we've got people that take care of the restaurants, and we've just always believed that the community is the most important thing. They give to us, we should give back to the community. We've always been involved with the community. We've been sponsored teams. I started umpiring Little League forever ago out at the community center on the island, and we've just always been involved with community, and I think it helps your business. I think it's a very important part of business is to give back. So that's what we do, and our crew go along with everything we do. I know they keep coming to me like, what are we doing this weekend? But there's always something going on, and I think we need to be involved with it. So we do, and everybody joins with us.
That's awesome. And now we're also approaching the end of 2012, and you have just undergone a major renovation at one of the Anna Maria Oyster Bars as well. Tell us a little bit what's happened at the landside and what's on tap.
We closed down for 15 days, which you know me well. You know I was just a mess during 15 days of the register not ringing. So for 15 days, we gutted the kitchen completely. We put new equipment. We found some tremendous new style cooking equipment. We completely changed it, redid the floor. I mean, it was just like putting a new restaurant in. So the kitchen's completely redone, and now we're in the process of building an outdoor deck with a new bar, and hopefully we'll put some volleyball courts out. And so it will be an open air deck, and that should be finished by the middle of January. So just something else to do while I'm chairman this year.
Nothing else going on, but you know, it's a good indication that business is recovering. You know, one of the things that the chamber is engaged in, obviously, is monitoring the condition of businesses in our community. Some of our viewers may not realize that the Manatee Chamber, as a chamber, is the largest in the Tampa Bay region. We actually have a larger membership than even the Tampa Chamber of Commerce, our sister organization to the north. We have a lot of regional interaction with the chambers across the Tampa Bay area, but we're very proud of the fact that we're the largest chamber in our community, serving more than 1,900 businesses currently. And you, as I mentioned earlier in the show, are currently our chairman of the board, which is the top leadership position within our organization. So you've talked to us a little bit about what's going on at the Anna Maria Oyster Bar, but you've been engaged with the chamber for a number of years and have worked your way through different leadership positions with the chamber. You're now at the penultimate top of it. Why the chamber? Why give your time to the chamber?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I always thought it was a no-brainer that when you opened a business, you joined the chamber. And we did that when we opened back in '97 on 41. I mean, we'd been a member of the Island Chamber when we were out on the island, but we came into town, we joined the Manatee Chamber. I just thought that that's what you did. And then I became involved with it. You know, it's the obligatory, I'm a member of the chamber, but didn't do anything, occasional networking event. I got involved and was just absolutely blown away by the magnitude of things that our chamber does and wanted to get involved more. And so I got on the board of directors and just kept going. And just every time I appeared at something, it was just amazing how much the chamber does for businesses that most don't even know. I mean, we have almost 2,000 members, and I would venture to say most of them are just obligatory and don't know that the chamber really affects their business life. And so I just wanted to do more and more, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I really have.
Well, you did have done a tremendous job, particularly from the staff perspective, in making our job every day a heck of a lot of fun while doing some really important work in the community. So you talked about all those things that people may not realize the chamber is engaged in as an advocate for business, and probably equally important in our mission statement is our concern over making sure that Manatee County has the very best quality of life, that we're the best product, for lack of a better term, possible, because we really view the role of the chamber as making sure that this community is strong as possible. And our argument is that while sometimes businesses can get a bad rap over, business, you're just worried about the bottom line and, the paycheck, well, you're the perfect example. You live here, you own a business here, your family's here, most of our kids go to school here. We care about the community as much as anyone, and so the chamber really has a tremendous amount of our programming and efforts that go towards the community and not just solely to business. So any highlights from this year as chairman of the board, any success stories that you think have really shined a light on what the chamber does in this community?
I think probably one of the highlights, or it's just opening your eyes to find out that something can come, just an idea from someone in a committee. And there's, gracious knows, a lot of committees
More
in
than 25, actually.
But an idea can come. Riverwalk came from an idea someone presented at the downtown committee. The program at with LECOM and the residency program came from the health care initiative. Just something that simple can come out. It's not that simple, but an idea can come out of someone just saying, what if we did this? And it comes to fruition. The Riverwalk is a perfect example. When we were all together, I mean, it brought the community together, and it came from a chamber idea from Cheryl that just brought it up. That to me is just tremendous, absolutely tremendous. The chamber this year has been phenomenal. We've been to Washington. We had a great trip up there, trying to get some legislative things moved to help things going on in our community. Wares Creek with the Fort Hamer Bridge. There's a lot going on, and people don't realize it. And that's what's great. That's why you want to be a part of it, so you can help enable those things to happen.
Yeah, I know that DC trip, which we haven't taken a lobbying trip to DC in a number of years from the Manatee Chamber's perspective, but I know that was under your leadership primarily. But in addition to Wares Creek, I think you guys also were talking about beach renourishment, because that's a federal issue, right, and how important that is to our community. And then there's that healthcare issue too. Healthcare for the business community, that's a federal issue, that's a state issue, but man, the tax really comes down to brass tacks when it's a community, a local issue. So I'm glad you brought that up. So what did you guys do? Whirlwind, 72 hours, not even in
We weren't
DC?
even up there 48 hours, but we saw 2 senators, we saw 3 congressmen, and we got to see them. I mean, it wasn't just seeing some of their aides. So the Manatee Chamber has a great reputation in Tallahassee and in Washington. The congressman got us in to see Representative Micah as well. And so that's a huge part of the transportation. I mean, he's head of the transportation committee, and so with the Fort Hamer Bridge, that's who you want to talk to, is the guy that's in charge of the committee. And so just being able to walk in, sit down with him, spend 10, 15 minutes with him, I think will go a long, long way to help Manatee County. Definitely will. And
that's really another strength of the chamber, is that, how many people can take time out of their day running their business to take a trip up to Tallahassee to educate themselves on which senators, which congressmen do we need to meet with to get traction on certain issues. And thankfully, because of the number of businesses that support the Manatee Chamber, the chamber is able to do that and be that voice of business, whether it's locally at county commission, city council meetings, or even as high up as the halls of Congress and the White House, which
in Tallahassee, I mean, our legislative delegate, they are very revered up there. I mean, people are like, oh my goodness, you're with the Manatee legislative group. They just think that they hung the moon. And a lot of that's from the leadership from the chamber. There's no question about that.
Absolutely. I think Neil calls them his chamber commandos
when
they go to Tallahassee. And I know he times those visits very strategically so that it's not too early before they know what types of bills are going to be discussed in Tallahassee, but it's not too late that they've already worked their way through the committee process. So again, it's thanks to the support of businesses that the chamber is able to monitor all those issues and take action on behalf of the business community.
And that's a perfect example, because Neil has done it so long, and he's such a all of the staff at the chamber do such a great job. it's made my job easier because Neil will send something and say, we need to discuss this, and he has researched it, and it's to the nth degree, and I read it, and I've not a clue what he's talking about. But yet I figure it out from what he's told me, and then you sit in front of a representative, a senator, a congressman, and you explain it to them, and you sound like you know what you're talking about, and it's just so much easier. The staff makes, Lord knows they made my job easy this year.
Well, thanks, and I'll pay you that $5 into the table a
little
bit later. So, you know, talking about Tallahassee, I know one of the other issues that we're really hoping to hit a home run on into 2013, but certainly has been continued under your leadership at the Chamber this year, is the idea of funding for our technical institutes. That whole equity issue, Manatee Technical Institute, our viewers may not realize, but has really been at the short end of the stick from the state funding perspective when it comes to technical education. And it was an issue that a lot of the leaders in Tallahassee had no idea was really, it was an unintended consequence of some legislation that was passed back in the late 90s that was putting our community at a disadvantage as MTI continued to grow and is, you know, a nationally award-winning, nationally recognized technical center, but they weren't being funded based on their enrollment and their achievements. It was this antiquated formula, and
everybody just divide up the kitty
exactly
equally.
The same regardless of whether your enrollment's going up or down, but it really has been the business community's voice on this issue. Gosh, we started lobbying on this I think 5 or 6 years ago, and it's just finally 2 years ago we've got Tallahassee to kind of pay attention and sit up and take notice. And so I know the last 2 years we've seen additional appropriations to MTI, but I think it's this next year that
is a big one. I mean, they're really pushing hard on the level up in Tallahassee to keep that funding coming. And it's important. I mean, with the new campus of MTI is doing some tremendous. I mean, they're respected all over the country with their skills competition. The people they're putting out are what people, to bring businesses into this area, they're always saying, we need this skill, we need that skill. Some of the newest businesses have gone to MTI and said, we need welders, we need this, we need that. And they develop a course for them, and they turn out the workforce. It's phenomenal. And to me, it's kind of like the Chamber. You had no idea they did that until you get exposed to it, and you're like, my goodness, they're putting this type of people out, and that's what our businesses need right now, is that type of skill set. And MTI is providing it. We just had to get the funding for them. And a lot of people have worked hard to do it. And the Chamber has absolutely spearheaded that to bring it back. And
it's been a great example of partnerships as well. You know, that's another thing I think the Chamber is able to accomplish because we have so many business people across the community, across industrial spectrums, getting engaged, is that we're really able to be collaborators and consensus builders. So we're able to bring the right players to the table, get groups that maybe have competing interests in some aspects, but certainly have ways that they share common ground and common interests. We bring them to the table, and we just have the best and the brightest of the business community working on issues where it makes sense to work together.
And we all have worked together. I went through the Leadership Florida program, and they just brought up that Manatee and Sarasota counties have worked together so well together as a region. And that's something that both of our chambers have worked hard to do together. And that's helped. I think that's something tremendous coming out of this year. And next year, I know Tom Seguin, next year's chairman, is doing the same thing. Yeah. So that's going to be a tremendous foot forward.
Well, it is, and you know, very often, whether it's a business from the business perspective or even from the employee and workforce perspective, we often don't see county lines any longer. You know, your business is physically located in Manatee County, but you certainly have customers that drive over that county line, you know, to patronize your business or your workforce. You may have a good percentage of your workforce that lives in a different county as well. And so, as I said, I think where it makes sense for there to be synergies, there is so much to be said for working together and being a unified front on the issues that really make sense for us to work together on. You mentioned Leadership Florida, John, and you're a graduate of Leadership Florida, which is a tremendous honor. We've got a local leadership program that you went through as well, and this year, I think you know, is our 30th anniversary of Leadership Manatee. And you know, every year I'm always wondering, who's going to apply for Leadership Manatee this year? It's a competitive selection process, so we typically have slots for about 38 individuals, and we look for the most diverse class possible. But maybe you could give our viewers just a couple minutes on Leadership Manatee and why maybe they should consider applying. Typically the applications are out in April of each year for the Leadership Manatee class, but it's our 30th year. We've graduated more than 1,000 local leaders through that program. So your thoughts on Leadership Manatee?
I sound like a broken record. I didn't realize I've lived in Manatee County 30 years, and when I went through the program, there were things that I had no idea were going on in Manatee County. I guess I've had my head in the sand or something, I'm not sure. But it seems like that's a common statement from everybody that's been through Leadership Manatee is, my gosh, I didn't know that we built fire trucks here, or I didn't know we did this, or I didn't know we did that. It's a great way to learn about your county, but more importantly to me, I think it's a great way to meet new people because it's such a diverse group of people from different businesses, from different industries. They suddenly become your new 30, 40 best friends. And the relationships that builds is phenomenal. I mean, the people that went through my class with me, we're still very, very close. And I can pick up the phone and say, hey, Doug, it's John. And he's like, what are you looking for? What do you need? You know, it's like, what can I do for you? And same thing. Everybody just helps each other. It's almost like you just joined a fraternity and you've got all these new people. But it's all a great business marketing, networking, because you learn their part of the county as well. So we've put several people through from our restaurant, and we try to put somebody through every year. And every year, the people that go through it are just amazed by it. And then they've met new people. So it's a great way to develop your business. It's a great way to develop the county. Yeah, it truly is.
I went through in '97, and I wasn't born in Manatee County, but we moved here when I was 10 years old. You know, I work for the Chamber of Commerce. I said, you know, I know what's going on in Manatee County. Same thing, though. The year after I started at the Chamber, I was selected for Leadership Manatee. And I tell you, every day, it was like 10 new things I had no idea were going on in Manatee County, because we all become experts, I think, within our own sphere.
Yeah.
But then, you know, how much do I know maybe about agriculture or about the inner workings of the school board or what have you? It's a great opportunity, and I certainly encourage the METV viewers to take a look at.
Absolutely. I think the funniest thing for me, I was thinking that all of the schools were, you know, built in the 50s, and so when we did our school day, our education day, I was like, yeah, well, why didn't you take us to some of the normal schools? And they were saying, no, we probably took you to the oldest. The school system it's phenomenal. And I'm just like, oh, I thought it was all the one-room school still.
Right.
Like when I was in school, probably.
Right. No, it's awesome. You know, talking about Leadership Manatee and the importance of the business community stepping up to meet some of those needs. You know, the other side of the chamber, maybe the side that we haven't even talked about yet, is that side of the chamber I think that most people think about when they think chamber. They think networking events, doing business locally. And so I know Bob Bartz, our president, likes to say we almost run two organizations simultaneously. We run that organization that you and I have been chatting about already today, which is that side of the chamber that really works on the product of Manatee County, making sure that we've got the right infrastructure, that we've got the quality of life that's supported in Tallahassee and DC and in our local governments. But then we certainly run that side of the chamber, equally important, that makes sure that businesses can be as successful as possible. So, you know, one of the initiatives the chamber has had is this whole idea of supporting local businesses because they support local jobs. So anything that you have particularly noticed over the course of this year as chairman or over your number of years in the chamber that you want to point out as a real strength of the chamber in helping local businesses?
I think there's two things. Where it's just been the emphasis is to please do business with local companies, chamber members or locally owned businesses in the community. Keep the money local. I mean, people spend money in a local place, they turn around and spend money at another local place. It just keeps, we're all trading dollars, but at least we're all still spending dollars that keep going in the circle. That to me has been the great part of it. And it's just been, I mean, that's getting people out and doing that. The press release, I think is it's blossoming. I've had more people this year tell me, oh my goodness, I used the press release tool. And I got all this information, and I had a blip in this paper, a blip in this email, and it's tremendous. I don't think people take advantage of that enough. And I've talked to both sides of it. I've talked to the people in the media when we've been buying ads or things like that, and they're like, we love the news. It helps us. It makes their jobs easier. So it's a win-win. It helps the media get stories, and it helps us get our stories out.
Right.
You know, we've used it a lot.
I didn't even have the press release tool on my list of my notes here for today's show, but you know what we have, and our viewers may want to stop by the chamber to pick it up. You know, we've got a book that outlines more than 100 programs and benefits that the chamber has for businesses and people in the community. One of those is that press release tool. Another tool that I think a lot of people in the community don't realize is available to everyone is a tool that we have. There's a link right from the chamber's homepage at manateechamber.com. It's called Local Quotes for You, and it's again following up on your earlier comments that it's so important for us to do business locally. Support the businesses, the people that are making an investment in our community. You know, not that we all don't love to shop online, and I certainly say shop online.
Well, that's like shopping online,
with
isn't
local
it?
companies, but it's really important that we're supporting, you know, local jobs here. So Local Quotes for You lets anybody that's looking for a product or service. Maybe you're looking for, you know, a roofer. You want a new roof or
I put new gutters on the house, and I used it at the house.
Exactly. I think
it was awesome.
We have somebody in our office that was looking to put a little doggy door in their screen door in their patio, and they go onto the Chamber's website. There's a tool called Local Quotes for You.
It's so easy.
All you do is enter your contact information, what you're looking for. So you say, hey, I'm looking for a 15-ton, AC unit or what have you, or I'm looking for new business cards to get printed.
Right.
You click submit, and that quote is sent out to all of the Chamber member businesses that supply that product or service, and they contact you with a quote. So it saves you time, it saves you money, and it keeps the dollars local.
I was amazed when I did it how many people
responded.
Do gutters. I'm like, oh my goodness, I would have never contacted this many people.
I'm missing a business opportunity somewhere. So, another thing I don't know that people are aware of that happened this last year, John, was that both Chamber offices being designated as official tourist information centers. So I know that in our Lakewood Ranch office, the Chamber has an office in Lakewood Ranch as well as in downtown Bradenton. We've seen more than a 25% increase in the traffic into the Chamber, and they stop by the Chamber asking for all kinds of things.
I think we could probably do a whole story on some of the questions, right?
I think we could fill a Reader's Digest, I think. I know Bob Bartz's favorite question that the Chamber has got, because people see the Chamber as a resource broker, is someone called the Chamber, a very nice woman, and asked our receptionist, our information specialist, I'm coming to Manatee County, and I wanted to know which of your beaches is closest to the water.
Did Bob know the answer?
We're thinking, what exactly was she trying to ask? So we answered Coquina. I don't know if we're correct or not, but we joke about it a little bit. But it's nice that the Chamber is seen as that resource, because the good thing is, with more than 1,900 businesses that are members, I know we keep touting that number, but there is strength in numbers when it comes to a lot of things. Is if we don't know the answer, meaning whoever picked up the phone when you called the Chamber, we've got 1,900 Chamber members that we can rely on if we need an answer that we don't have at our fingertips.
Well, just having the Chamber named as that, we've got more people coming into the Chamber lobby, and there's just like a huge billboard for all of our businesses. Everybody has a flyer or a pamphlet or just a business card in there. So when the people come in and they start asking the questions, I know Reba and the whole gang there, they're like, well, if you're looking for restaurants, if you're looking for, did I say restaurants? Yeah, if they're looking for restaurants, she'll direct them in that area, or whatever they're looking for, whatever type of business or attraction that they're in town for. And it's another way of getting your advertising and your name in front of somebody else or some new one. If you're going to a tourist information center, you're looking for information, you're not familiar. It's right there for them. It's great. That's
exactly right. And we actually see our two offices, both the downtown Bradenton and the Lakewood Ranch office, really as the front door for all of our members, because they can put all of their promotional materials in our lobby. And as you said, they're stopping by because they're looking for information. So we literally have plastic bags, and people leave the Chamber with a plastic bag full of brochures and business cards, the map, the publications that we put out. But all of our members put their information in there as well. Now, another thing that the Chamber does when we talk about supporting businesses is, we have a lot of fun as well. So we've got, I think breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the Chamber in any given week. So as your year as Chamber Chairman, what are some of your favorite Chamber events? Just curious.
Usually it would be a networking event, either after work maybe. I'll tell you what though, we had several breakfasts with the chairman, and I thoroughly enjoyed those. We had them at different parts of the county. We had them in the north and the east and the central, out on the island, and it was just great fun to get up, have breakfast with people, and talk to them about what the Chamber means to them or what they're looking for from the Chamber. It helps us improve. It helps us get the word out of what the Chamber does for them. And like you say, you tell them all the different initiatives that the Chamber works on, and most of them are like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. Or, I was going to ask if you guys did something like that. And so you get one-on-one time with them. Obviously, the after hours are a blast, and to me, I think if you're going to do something, it should be fun. And so the after hours are always good to be around a different group of people, and the different parts of the county too. They're all over the place. We were in Ellington last month. So, we've been in the South. We're all over with those as well. We're on the island sometimes. And it's good to see people. It's in a relaxed situation. Everybody just is at ease. You can talk to anyone about anything because there's a business there represented. So you can find people that own a business that are out trying to get new business. They're all fun.
It's really about supporting one another, and I know, two things that did happen under your tenure. I wasn't going to bring them up, but we had two people retire. So
I know.
I think you had said that there was a past chairman that said, John, just whatever you do, don't let any of the, the staff go or anything. But we did have two of our longtime employees
I was taking
retire.
it personally for a while there. I thought people that had been with us for 20, 25 plus years just retiring, and I just thought, well, maybe it is my reign.
It's not. No, we had several. We had a phenomenal hire to take the place of one of our
and we're
treasured
very
staff members.
We're very fortunate when Kim Douglas has joined us, and so it brings new life, it brings new blood, and so everything, you just keep moving forward. And people think, oh my gosh, it's not going to be the same. Well, not often, or not always is the same good.
Right.
It's always good to see different ideas. So.
It is.
The Chamber's always moving forward.
It is, and talking about moving forward, sometimes you have to take a look back, and one of the milestones that we're about to achieve as the Manatee Chamber is our 125th anniversary. We trace our roots back to what used to be called the Bradenton Board of Trade, that was back in
there's a name from the past.
I know, late 1800s, and there was one time it was the Bradentown Board of Trade, and there's been Bradenton Chamber, Palmetto Chamber. There was actually back in the 60s that the Bradenton and Palmetto chambers merged together to become what we are now, which is a county-wide organization. So why do you think it is that our organization has been able to survive? Think about the changes over 125 years.
I mean, Bob's been with us for 100 of those 125. Kidding, Bob. It's the leadership. Absolutely, it's the leadership. Bob has been with us for 30 years. I mean, to keep that consistency, Marie was there for 25 years. All of that is what keeps the stability. I mean, for the longest time, you were the baby of the organization at 15 years. So that says everything about the organization. It's great leadership. It's made my job. I mean, I say the same thing about my restaurants. Everybody does all the work, and I take all the credit. So that's what my year's been. The staff does all the work, and I get all the credit.
That has not been the case at all. So for our viewers that don't know any better, you have no idea the amount of time that we ask of our chairman of the board, of all of our executive committee, but particularly in your chairmanship year. I mean, we have you at more meetings and more events than you possibly can put in your iPhone, I know. So, well, you have made it an extraordinarily fun year as well, and we've been able to tick some things off that list of things that we really wanted to accomplish with a lot of ease, thanks to your leadership. So I hate to say it, but I think we only have about a minute or two. Anything else you'd like to highlight from your year? Any I didn't ask, but any surprises?
I don't know how many people know this, but I understand that the Chamber has named an official drink now. So it's the margarita, if I'm not mistaken.
It may have to be the margarita. Not just that, but maybe the Anna Maria Oyster Bar.
Oyster Bar margarita. Yeah, we've had an absolute blast this year. I mean, my eyes have been wide open, and we've just had a great time going through the year. It has been an eye-opening experience. I mean, you guys have just done a great job, and I'm just along for the ride. Tom's going to have a blast next year. And I think Manatee County is going to have a blast. It just gets better. It gets better and better. One of the things Bob and I talked about back in December a year ago, before I started my year as chair, is we need to bury the idea that things aren't going well. Everybody knows what's going on. Let's just keep positive. Let's keep talking about moving forward. And it is getting better. Every day is getting better. So we're having a good time, and the Chamber's doing a great job.
Well, and that's been, one really nice way to start the year was basically your instructions to us that we're going to stop talking about, the downturn, because things are getting better.
They are.
You heard at our Chamber retreat just a few weeks ago that we did a membership survey recently, and more than 96% of our members feel positively about the local economy, meaning they don't think we're going to see any, any downturn in the coming year, that they're either going to at least stay as where we are now, but I think more than 60% said we're going to have either moderate or strong growth in the local economy. And I think optimism is contagious, and that's been one really fantastic thing under your leadership is, I don't know if there's a day you haven't been optimistic in your life.
Absolutely not.
It's been
Absolutely
awesome.
not. I always say if you just keep lying to yourself, you'll start living it eventually.
You start believing it, right? Drink the Kool-Aid.
So always.
Well, John, we are out of time, but I can't thank you enough for the half hour you spent with us today on Manatee Educational Television here, and thank you for your leadership to this community, not just to the Chamber, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the segment, your leadership across countless organizations in this community really makes a difference every day for Manatee County.
Thanks so much. I have a wonderful person behind me, so having Amanda
She
with me
is.
helps me tremendously.
Good.
So thanks for having me
and
here.
you're brilliant as well because you're giving her credit. So that's great.
Thanks so much.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this segment of It's Your Business on Manatee Educational Television. I am Jackie Dzelski with the Manatee Chamber. It was a pleasure to spend this half hour with you, and please watch for the next segment of It's Your Business on METV.